What's going on, guys? Ryan O'Toole back here again, giving you guys a start to a brand new series that I am creating on my channel. This is the start to my new series that I'm calling The Journey to Incredibles 2. Now, what does that mean? The Journey to Incredibles 2? I'm going to be reviewing all of the Pixar movies that I have not reviewed yet on my channel. There's 16 of them. I've reviewed 3 on my channel. They are Finding Dory, Cars 3, and Coco. I've already reviewed those movies, so I won't be re-reviewing them leading up to Incredibles 2. I am not going to be reviewing all 16 Pixar movies alone. I gotta bring in some help. That is right, guys. I have 16 special guests joining this huge collaboration. This is a huge project that I had to invite them on and be a part of, because Incredibles 2 is one of the most anticipated films this year. You're going to be getting 2 videos a week, 2 reviews each week of each movie. I will be reviewing them in release order. So of course, the first movie we're going to be starting with is the film that started it all in 1995. That is Toy Story, directed by John Lasseter, starring the voice talents of Tom Hanks and Tim Allen. My special guest today joining me reviewing Toy Story is my good buddy Griffin from Men vs. Movies. Griffin will get started with his thoughts first, give you his review, then I'll jump in after, give you my thoughts. But before we get started with this review, guys, to get you guys involved, let us know your thoughts on Toy Story down below in the comments section. And where does Toy Story rank in your guys' Pixar rankings? Let us know down below. Let's get a nice discussion about Toy Story in the comments. Without further ado, guys, let's get started. Griffin, take it away, man.
What is up, everyone? I'm Griffin from Men vs. Movie. Thanks, Ryan, for having me on your channel to discuss the first and probably still one of the best films in the Pixar universe, that is Toy Story, the original, the one that kickstarted it all, the movie that came out in 1995, the year I was born. Yes, I'm aware my jacket's loud, but you know what? It's freezing down here, so I'm not gonna take it off, so deal with it. Toy Story, I mean, my God, where do I even begin? This was a staple growing up for me. It was like this and Toy Story 2 were 2 films I had on VHS that I was constantly rewatching. There's so much enjoyment to be had with this film, and there were a lot of fond memories I had growing up watching the movie. The best part about this film is that it's a movie for everyone. There's stuff in there for kids, there's stuff in there for adults, both in terms of humor and thematically. And this was the movie that established that Pixar formula. Animated films that everyone can enjoy and not just for little kids. And the other thing I love about this movie is this is one of the first films to really utilize computer animation. We had not seen anything like this up until this point. Maybe we'd seen little bits and pieces there, but everything was leading towards this. And so on top of being a great film, it's an incredible technical achievement. Yeah, it does look a little dated now, but think about it. This comes out in 1995 and your mind is blown because you're seeing 3D animated toys walking around and they look great. And so something else Pixar was able to do was establish itself as a 3D animation studio, not just the classic 2D that Disney had been known for. And so already you can see this film was a landmark from a cinematic standpoint and storytelling standpoint, from being a great movie, but also on a technical standpoint. This film really influenced cinema and the way the industry used 3D animation going forward. But enough of the overview. Let's start diving into the specifics here. I think probably the biggest reason that this movie works so well is the vocal cast. Across the board, everyone does a great job, but this movie really doesn't function without Tom Hanks as Woody and Tim Allen as Buzz Lightyear. They are the anchors in this film and everything comes back to them. Tom Hanks, I swear to God, is unrecognizable in this role. You forget that Tom Hanks is voicing a toy cowboy in this movie. I mean, he's really just that good. When you go back and you look at Tom Hanks' roles, you're like, oh yeah, Castaway, Forrest Gump, Saving Private Ryan. How many of you on first thought think of Toy Story? Because I know I overlook it in terms of Tom Hanks' best performances, but it shouldn't be because it's one of his best ones. He really just embodies the cowboy. He gets what makes Woody tick. And the character as a whole goes on a fairly relatable journey. Now, granted, we as people are not going to be thrown out into the garbage and disbanded of and forgotten, but the theme here of something new coming in and pushing you aside and everyone, all your friends being fascinated by that new thing, whether it be a person or whatever, that is a relatable theme. That's why I think Woody's journey throughout the film is as good as it is. Also, I should mention that Woody is by far the funniest character in this movie. I mean, he is hysterical. The dialogue is really, really witty. I mean, you go back and you watch this movie now and you're like, wow, this is this is kind of like Pixar Unchained. I'm not saying it's like so like, dark and dirty and stuff like that, but there's witty humor in there that kids will miss and adults will pick up on. And when those kids go back and rewatch it as adults, they'll love it even more, because I know it had the same effect on me. And it's one of the reasons why this movie still holds up as well as it does. Well, it seems only natural to move on to the next character in here, and that is Tim Allen as Buzz Lightyear, or as I like to call him, Buzz Lightbeer. That's a great joke that Woody makes. Still one of my favorites. I mean, Tim Allen is fantastic in this role. There is a reason why Buzz Lightyear was one of my favorite characters in film growing up as a kid. He's cool, he's funny, everyone wants to be him, and that scene where he tries to prove that he can fly is one of the best scenes out of the entire movie. But on the flip side of that coin, he learns a valuable lesson. He learns humility. He learns that he's not all that he can't really fly up until the ending, which I think is brilliant. The whole journey that Buzz goes on throughout the course of this film is another one that is incredibly relatable. I should also mention that the relationship that develops here between Woody and Buzz and their back and forth throughout the entire movie, it's so witty, it's so brilliantly crafted. The characters just play off of each other so well, and that's all attributed to Tom Hanks and Tim Allen for just knockout performances. Now, you've kind of heard me mention it already, but the script for this movie is one of my favorite animated scripts of all time. It's so funny. It's just littered with little gags, little one-liners, little quips and witty lines that go over your head as a kid, but you come back and you appreciate it as an adult. But on top of that, it's just a very concise story. It's a simple story, but it's one that has a lot of impact and carries a lot of emotion. And when we get to the ending, the payoff is there tenfold, and it makes for such an enjoyable animated family adventure. I think hands down my favorite part of the film is when Woody and Buzz get stranded together, when they go off on their journey and they go to Sid's house and they see all these toys that have been taken apart, and it's just absolutely hysterical, but it's also kind of disturbing. This kid just mutilates toys, he experiments on them. I mean, what the hell is wrong with you, Sid? You're kind of you got a screw loose there. I think your mom should take you in. But on top of that, when they go to Pizza Planet and then they meet these green aliens there, everything in that segment really works for me. And I think the other thing that I loved was when I was a kid, this movie really made me more attached to my toys. Like, I didn't want to get rid of them. I wanted to play with all of them. I didn't want to neglect any of them. So it's just kind of funny in retrospect on how this movie really impacted my relationship with my own toys. I know that sounds kind of silly, but it makes sense. I'm sure you all have experienced something similar. Guys, how can we talk about Toy Story without talking about the incredible songs and score by Randy Newman? Randy Newman really gives this film life with his original songs that really play into the moments that they're used in, the score that gives it a sense of jovial adventure. The music overall is just one of Randy Newman's best scores, I feel, and definitely the songs. I mean, You Got a Friend in Me, I Will Go Sailing, all of that stuff really just lends towards enhancing the film tenfold. Overall, guys, I mean, yeah, I could go on and talk about Toy Story ad nauseum, but I really just tried to pinpoint the things that came to my mind and why this film still sticks with me. It's a classic. It's the first real use of 3D computer animation technology, and it revolutionized cinema along with being a great film on top of that. We've got an incredible script here with witty dialogue, comedic dialogue, that you're gonna catch references from a bunch of different stuff. There's little Easter eggs of toys, classic toys that are thrown in there that make it that much more enjoyable. Barrel of Monkeys, perhaps. And we've got two charismatic leads here that we can both relate to on their individual journeys. I think Tom Hanks and Tim Allen don't get enough credit for what they do in these movies because, quite frankly, you don't recognize them in these roles, but they are absolutely fantastic along with the rest of the cast, Ham and Rex being two of my favorites as well. And all around, if you're looking for great, enjoyable family entertainment, you can't go wrong with Toy Story. It's a classic for a reason, and that is why this movie is 100% without a doubt supercharged. And if you have no idea what that means, then that means you haven't checked out the Men vs. Movies YouTube channel. But since I am on Ryan's channel, I will give this movie a whopping bam! 5 out of 5 stars. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, really. I haven't watched it in quite some time, so maybe I haven't picked up some little minute flaws in it, but to be honest with you, I probably wouldn't. I remember this film quite well, so it's just It's great. Go watch it. Thanks, guys, for checking out this review of Toy Story, and thank you, Ryan, for having me on your channel on this journey to Incredibles 2. If you guys are interested, you can go head on over to Men vs. Movies. Check out my YouTube channel. We do movie reviews over there. We do a bunch of podcasts. We got a James Bond podcast, and we just started up a Westworld podcast. So if any of that sounds good to you, definitely head on over to Men vs. Movies and check out the good stuff we got going on there. And lastly, guys, to close this one out, if you like me specifically and you like what I have to say, you can always give me a follow on Twitter at Griff Schiller. All right, that'll do it for this review, guys, and I'm going to swing it back to Ryan.
Thank you, Griffin. That was an awesome review. And guys, I will leave Griffin's YouTube channel link in the description box down below. Please go check out Griffin's channel. He does a lot of great content on there. This movie came out in the year that I was born, in 1995. And the fact that this movie is almost 23 years old, it's my age. This movie came out when I was born. That's how old I am, and watching this movie constantly over and over again. And I've seen it so many times. It's just classic animation. Everything about the movie, the way that it's structured, the way it's animated, it's just inspirational. And with what Toy Story did, setting up Pixar and creating this whole universe, it's just really fantastic. Tom Hanks as Woody is just perfect casting choice. Woody is just one of the best animated characters of all time, and Tom Hanks getting to voice him, it's just really amazing. And Tim Allen as Buzz Lightyear, the way those two talk back and forth with each other, it's just really, really entertaining, really funny, and just really satisfying by the end. You need strong main characters, and we got Woody and Buzz Lightyear. They're just amazing, and that's why Toy Story is still rememberable to this day because of those characters. Slinky is one of my favorite characters as well. I love Slinky, very funny. I mean, Rex, the T-Rex, absolutely funny. And Bo Peep in this movie, having a little of a romance there with Woody. This is the first computer animated film ever made. And what they did with the animation in this film, and that it still holds up today, it's just really jaw-dropping. Once you see the first scene in this movie, it doesn't look dated at all. And rewatching this film a couple nights ago, and it's 2018, and the animation still looks top freaking notch. There's so many quotable lines in Toy Story, to infinity and beyond. There's a snake in my boot. Reach for the sky. The screenplay is really resonant, really emotional, as well as very funny. Toy Story is a very funny film. You've Got a Friend in Me? Who doesn't love You Got a Friend in Me? It's such an awesome song. I sing it all the time. Sung it when I was a kid, and I still sing it when I'm 22 years old. That's how great this song is, you know that. Sid, such a very awesome villain. This kid, he's so unlikable, very despicable what he does to toys, but you're just so entertained with Sid that you really do love watching him. And the legacy that this film has created, and the direction by John Lasseter, the director that started it all as well, directing the first two Toy Story films and just creating these characters and giving them motivation, it really is a movie for everybody, and that everybody has rewatched years and years, and me myself, it's just one of the greatest animated films ever made. It's an hour and 21 minutes. It's perfectly paced and perfectly watchable. Really no flaws you can find with Toy Story. One of the best Pixar films ever made, one of the most watchable Pixar films ever made, and just really is to infinity and beyond with every expectation you'd have with a great film like this. So Toy Story, I just can't stop loving this film. On my rating scale, Toy Story absolutely gets a 5 out of 5 stars. Alright guys, that was my review for Toy Story. Let me know your thoughts on Toy Story down below in the comments section. And where does it rank on your Pixar rankings? Let me know down below. The next film I'm going to be talking about is A Bug's Life, which came out in 1998. And joining me for A Bug's Life is Josh O'Haye from Everything Movies. Thank you guys as always for watching this review. And if you guys liked it, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe today for more content. All my social media links are in the description down below. Click that notification bell on your way out, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!